Hey guys, today I'd like to discuss some of the different recording modes and some of the different options we have available to us inside of Pro Tools. I've got a session loaded with kind of an upright bass, grand piano, and some drums. All right, and the first mode is just our default standard recording mode, which is going to record the notes as we play them. So it's going to be fully humanized, and it's going to sound, if you play loose, it's going to be loose. If you play tight, it's going to be tight. Our velocities are going to be as you play them. So if you play hard, it's going to be hard, etc. So basically like recording audio, except we're recording MIDI data, right? So I've got this little Latin music idea, and we can go through and record that. I can hit 3 on my keypad to record, and also I can just press record up here too. So let's try that. Okay, so another thing we can try is this wait for note button for recording. Let me show you what that looks like. If we do that, if I arm the track, it's going to just play the click, and then as soon as I start playing, it's going to record. So that's another thing that we can do just for ways to press record if you want to give yourself a little bit of extra time to get set. And as I pressed play, the recording just automatically started, that's kind of nice, especially if you're by yourself. So I can go into my MIDI editor. You can right click and hit open MIDI editor. You can also hit control equals, which is what I like to do. And as you can see, if like here I was a little bit ahead of the beat, and if I wanted, I could go in and kind of clean that up a little bit. But this could get kind of arduous as it's, and it's kind of random too, which maybe is a good thing. You might just have one little note that you want to fix, in which case that might be fine. And you'll notice like I made a mistake here. I can delete that, as well as like these notes went to the wrong place. Those needed to be a B, not a C. Okay, and you can see obviously my velocities are just what as I play them and everything. And in a lot of cases, you want your velocities to be as you play them. I want this bass to have that kind of a expressive feel to it. I don't want it to be totally metronomic. Let's look at another recording mode. With my piano, let's say that I want to keep my velocities. I kind of want to keep it human, but I don't want to have to go in and clean up the notes as I go. I want it to just kind of be on the beat and make it a little bit more streamlined. If I go up to event at the top of my window, I can check out event operations. And we're going to go through a lot of these tools over the next couple weeks. But for now, I want you to check out input quantize. And what input quantize is going to do, if I enable this, it's going to automatically set everything that I play to the grid. So depending on where I set my grid, if I've got my grid set to 16th note for this song, that's the right choice because I am playing 16th. If everything is on the beat and it's only 8th notes or greater, you could do 8th note. If you do 30 seconds, you might get some that are going to get sticky to a note value that you don't want. So basically, when it says quantize, what quantize means is it's going to take the note and kind of magnetize it to the beat. So that's why when we talk about what grid you choose and everything, all that's important because that's going to kind of determine how the computer is going to adjust your playing. So with input quantize, it's going to be doing it in real time as I'm playing it, which this is pretty cool. So some of these other options, if I select this, it's going to allow triplets in addition to 16th notes. Offset grid means it's going to play it behind the beat or ahead of the beat. Randomize, I have it on at 10%. Randomizing is nice if you, again, want a more human sounding performance. It's going to send it to the beat, but not exactly to the beat. It's going to kind of randomly make it hover near the beat. And at 10%, it's not going to be huge. It's just going to kind of keep it from being totally like a robot is doing it. And then we'll look at some of these options later as time goes on. All right, so I've got input quantize enabled. Let's try it with my piano part and see what happens. Oh, I've got wait for note on, so we'll just do that. So I can go look in here, and again, I wasn't exactly on the beat. And with a song like this, where it's kind of got that vibe to it, that slow kind of thing, it's hard to play all those exactly on the beat, right? And so, but with my beautiful input quantize, I can go back and play. If I zoom in a lot, right now you can, it looks like everything is just really nicely on the grid, but if I kind of zoom in a bunch to where you see the attacks, you'll notice that my notes aren't actually exactly the same. And especially like with a piano or something where you're playing a chord down together, it can get really just, it doesn't sound quite right, because in reality, when someone plays a piano chord, they're not playing all the notes at precisely the same moment. There's going to be a little bit of give and take there. So that randomization is what allows it to kind of be near the beat, but not totally on the beat. So, you know, you don't have to sound like a robot to use this function. Still maintain my velocities, which is nice, especially for the piano, just to give it that life. I'm going to show you another mode now with the drums called step input. And step input is really cool. You could use input quantize on the drums too. But for this video, I'm just going to show you a totally different one. So I've got this kind of, let's see here. I got that idea. So I'm going to choose under event operations, I'm going to select step input. What step input does is it isn't going to play the music in real time. It's going to play the music as I play it. And it's going to record the exact rhythm that I choose. So let's say I want to have everything be 16th notes. And I'm going to make the destination be the drums. And I have it enabled. And also I can have the velocity set to a specific velocity, because on this track I want the drums to have that kind of metronomic sound for that kind of Latin dance kind of thing that I want to go for on this. So I'm going to set it to, we'll just try 105, and that's going to make all of my beats, no matter how hard I play them, set to 105, which is cool because I don't have to worry about how hard I'm playing them. All right, another thing you can look at is if you select this here, it's going to just use the input velocity, which you may want to use that with something else. So that would allow the velocity that you're inputting as you play it to be recorded. In this case, I'm going to choose it to set velocity. You can also use these tools here, which are going to help skip ahead or go back, and we'll check that out in a second. So if I set these and open my MIDI editor, now when I play a note, let's see here, where are we? Oh, I have it disabled. There we go. I was wondering what. All right, so now you can see as I play a note, it's going to record it. And what step input does is it defaults to just playing the next note, next note, next note. So as I play, if I want to play a bunch of 16th notes in a row, I don't have to play it in time or worry about quantizing it. I can just have step input is just going to keep doing 16th notes. So, for example, for this part, I might want to go. Oop. Let's delete those. So this is where those other tools are going to come into play here in a second. So let's take a look at that. And this is nice because I can kind of play it in my own time, and it's going to make the rhythms be exactly what I want, which is great. You can also hold it. It's not going to create the note on until you release the chord. So if I have a kind of a complicated thing, let's say I want to play like 4 notes at once, I can hold those down, and then it's not going to record them until I let go, and then it's going to create all of them at the same time, which is nice if you're doing something with complex chords. So now we can go back, take my drum part, and see what that sounds like. Okay, so not exactly what I had in mind, but it's pretty cool. So there's my drum part. And the last thing I wanted to mention was these undo steps, next step. So if I select that, I can pick something. I'll pick something down low, for example, this low C, and then undo will make D. Well, let's do it the other way. Make that D, make that C, and then redo, we can make E. So now when I'm inside my editor, delete this and start from scratch. So I'm going to start recording. Oops. And as I go, where do we go? Let's enable that again. Let's say I want to have a gap there. I can just hit next step, and it's going to skip ahead. Okay, so basically it's like my forward is I program to be D-1, and my backwards I program to be C, and it's going to kind of work like a backspace button if you make a mistake. And then the redo is going to put back what you did. So you can kind of toggle back and forth with these different tools. So hopefully that helps out with understanding some of these different record modes, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have.